Hey there, guys. So, as most of you probably already know, the Alexander Usyk versus Marco Huck fight is taking place on the 9th of September, so it's coming up in a couple of weeks. And I just wanted to talk a bit about the undercard because there's been a few good fights added to the undercard. There's a few prospects, a few good matchups, and there's one fight in particular that I'm very interested in that I wanted to talk about, and it's happening in the Cruiserweight division. And I'm thinking that the World Boxing Super Series, because they've talked about having some of these guys on the undercards as reserves in case anybody in the tournament gets injured, they're doing this on the undercard of the Breeders fight against Mike Perez over in Latvia too. They're having Krzysztof Glowacki on the undercard, I believe, as a reserve. And on this undercard, there's a very good fight, and it's between Isiah Thomas and No Gabor. Now, No Gabor, for those of you who don't know who No Gabor is, he's the stepson of a former middleweight contender called Gevor. Now, Gevor was quite well known in Europe. He was a gatekeeper in the middleweight and super middleweight divisions. He fought a lot of belt holders over in Germany. He fought people like Arthur Abraham, Felix Sturm, Robert Stieglitz, all those kind of guys. And he was a very well-known gatekeeper, very experienced, and he's the father or the stepfather and the trainer of cruiserweight contender No Gabor. Now, No Gabor, he's coming off his first defeat, which was a split decision defeat against Krzysztof Wlodarczyk, who I'm sure a lot of you know is part of this tournament. He's going to be facing Murat Gassiev. The fight was over in Poland in Wlodarczyk's backyard. And it was a very, very close fight. I think the fight's on YouTube. I've seen it before. It was a very close, competitive fight. Wlodarczyk won the fight by a split decision. He just edged it out. See, the thing about that fight is, I don't think that No Gabor was anywhere near seasoned enough or experienced enough for that fight. I mean, going over to Poland, when you've only had a handful of domestic level fights, to go over and face a guy who's an experienced, seasoned, former multiple-time cruiserweight champion, who has a lot of international experience. I mean, he's fought guys like Steve Cunningham, Rakhim Chakhachev, Grigory Drozd, Danny Green. I mean, he was a WBC champion for a while. He was IBF champion. Just so much championship-level experience there with a fighter like Wlodarczyk. It was just such a tough ask to ask a guy like Gevor, who had so little experience by comparison, to go over there and defeat him in his backyard. And I think that he did well when you consider the circumstances. You consider the difference in experience between the two guys. I think that No Gabor handled himself quite well in the fight, and he could have won the fight if the fight had been in his backyard. It's just that he was in Wlodarczyk's backyard, and it was a close fight. And obviously, the close rounds are likely going to go to the home fighter. But it was a close fight. It was competitive. It really could have gone either way. And I think that he will take a heck of a lot of experience from that. So, I wouldn't really look too much into that defeat going into this fight. Now, Isiah Thomas, for those of you who haven't watched Isiah Thomas, I'm sure most of you have, he's most famous for his no contest that he had against the current IBF Cruiserweight champion, Murat Gassiev. Now, I watched that fight when it happened, and Murat Gassiev was actually losing the fight. He was behind on the scorecards, I believe, and Isiah Thomas was outboxing him. He's quite a slick southpaw, quite difficult to deal with in the ring. He's got some good skills, and he was outboxing Murat Gassiev. However, Murat Gassiev was starting to break him down with the body work and with his power. And towards the end of that round where it ended, he landed a straight right hand after the bell, which kind of had Isiah Thomas out on his feet, and the corner of Isiah Thomas decided to pull him out, and the referee decided that it would be a no contest. And his only other defeat, which came after that, which was, I believe, in May of last year, so he's been out of the ring for a while. In May of last year, I believe he lost to Michael Hunter by a unanimous decision. I haven't actually been able to find that fight. I was trying to watch that fight, but I just can't seem to find it anywhere. I'm not sure if it's on YouTube or not, but anyway, he lost to Michael Hunter by decision. Michael Hunter proved in his last fight against Alexander Usyk that he himself is a serious contender at cruiserweight, because he actually gave Usyk all he could handle in that fight. He gave him a lot of problems. So obviously Michael Hunter's a very good boxer. And that defeat to Michael Hunter, I wouldn't really look at that and think that Isiah Thomas wasn't serious because of that fight. Like I said, Michael Hunter's a very good boxer, a lot more seasoned than you would think, because although he doesn't have that many fights as a professional, he was a top level amateur, and also he has been a sparring partner for the Klitschko's, a sparring partner for Tyson Fury, for Deontay Wilder, for several other heavyweights. So obviously he had a lot more seasoning than you would think from looking at his record. So yeah, that's Isiah Thomas's only defeat, which was to Michael Hunter, and of course the no contest to Gassiev. Now, it's been a while since he actually won a fight. Like I said, he's only fought twice in the past 2 years, I think. I mean, last year he only fought once, and that was when he lost to Hunter. So, going into this fight, there's an element of uncertainty about Isiah Thomas. Although we know what he can do, we know he's a slick southpaw, we know he's got good boxing skills, we know he's difficult to hit and he's awkward, like we saw from the Murat Gassiev fight while it lasted. What we don't know about Isiah Thomas, we don't know what form he's going to be in because he's been out of the ring for so long. And also because he's fighting in No Gabor's backyard. That's going to be interesting. We don't know how Isiah Thomas is going to be outside of America. I haven't looked at his record in a while, but from what I remember, I don't think he's fought outside of America yet. I could be wrong about that. I'll need to check, but I'm pretty sure that all his professional fights have been in America so far. So, if he's going to be fighting No Gabor in Germany, where No Gabor is quite popular, I think that it's uncertain how he's gonna perform in another guy's backyard. Let's just say that. So obviously that could give No Gabor a mental edge, especially when you consider the fact that No Gabor in his last fight fought in his opponent's backyard and actually performed very well under the circumstances. You would have to give No Gabor a mental edge there. This is, I believe it's going to be on a Sauerland card. I know that the Sauerlands don't promote either of the fighters on the headline, Usyk and Hook. I know they used to promote Hook, they don't anymore. But I do think that the Sauerlands they have a lot to do with the World Boxing Super Series. It was Kalle Sauerland who was one of the first people who proposed the series, so obviously they have a lot to do with it. And Noel Gevor is one of their fighters. He's one of their contenders. So I think if the politics are going to favour anybody here, it will probably be Noel Gevor. But I think it will be a fair fight. Just I think that he might have a slight edge with it being in his backyard on one of his promoters' shows. I think it's going to be, it's going to help him mentally, psychologically. That's going to help him in this fight. So yeah, I'm gonna go for. I don't really know because, like I said, it's intriguing because we don't know how Isiah Thomas is going to be. We really don't know what form he's going to be in. If he is in form, if he is himself, then he can certainly win this fight. Okay, he can certainly outbox No Gabor and give him problems. But I can also see No Gabor winning this fight because to me, No Gabor has proven himself internationally now against an elite cruiserweight in Wlodarczyk in Poland. So I just think that he has more momentum at this stage. Certainly a heck of a lot more momentum. I mean, he's been much more active in recent years than Isiah Thomas has. To me, he's a bit more athletic than Thomas. Thomas hasn't really shown the best stamina in his career late in fights, whereas Noel Gevor has shown pretty good stamina so far. So I'm going to go with Noel Gevor. I think he's going to edge out a decision. I can't really see him. I can't really see him getting destroyed in this fight. Put it that way, I can't see him getting dominated. And I think with him being in his backyard, with him having more momentum, with him being at a better stage of his career right now, having more confidence right now, I can't really see Isiah Thomas doing a number on No Gabor at this stage. So I'm going to go with No Gabor by decision in a competitive fight. Stoppage is possible, but I mean, neither of these guys has really shown elite level punching power so far. And in this cruiserweight division, there are a lot of guys who can punch, like Gassiev and Kudryashov and Lebedev and Drozd and Tony Bellew if he comes back down, Myris Breeders. All these guys are serious knockout punchers. And I don't think that either of these guys have the power to really get those guys respect. Although Isiah Thomas was able to outbox Gassiev, he wasn't really able to get his respect, which is why Gassiev was walking forward and slowly breaking him down. So I don't really see either of these guys as elite punchers, so it's a very good possibility this fight could go the distance. So I'm going to go for a No Gabor decision victory. But, you know, I mean, I wouldn't be surprised by a stoppage because, like I said, we don't know the form that Isiah Thomas is in. So No Gabor, I think, is going to win the fight. I think it's going to be very competitive. Like I said, just depends on the physical and mental condition of Isiah Thomas going into the fight. So I think it's a good fight. It's a really good, like I said, it's a really good card. You know, you got some good prospects on the card. There's a good Swedish heavyweight prospect called Otto Wallin, who's going to be, I think he's going to be on the undercard, and also Jürgen Bremer's prospect, Dennis Radovan, he's going to be on the undercard too, making, I think it's his 6th professional fight, something like that. So yeah, it's shaping up to be a good card. I can't wait. You know, the Usyk versus Hook fight is going to be brilliant on the main event. So let me know what you guys think about this fight. Anyway, I mean, these are two cruiserweights that whoever wins could potentially be a reserve for this cruiserweight tournament. So I think it's important to keep an eye on this fight. So let me know what you guys think anyway, and thanks for watching.